Well, good morning. I'm Tara Barney. I head up the Southwest Indiana Chamber, and I really appreciate having the chance to talk with you today. Um, I'm going to share a little information, but mostly I'm hoping that I am a listener and that we can talk among ourselves about some of those things that are going to be most important as we bring retail back online in our community. I'm looking through the folks that I can see, and some of you I know, so it's grand to see you. Others I don't know, but I hope that I get to know you sometime soon. I've been in town for 2 years now, so I've shopped lots of places, but not everywhere yet. Couple housekeeping issues as we get started. If you haven't used Zoom, I want to ask a couple things of you. Down at the bottom, there's a bubble. It says chat, one of those little thought bubbles. If you would turn that on, that would be really grand, because then you can tag me if you have something you want to say to the group. You can post communication to everyone on the call if you need to, and you can certainly send me any private message or content you want me to have. We'll capture that and be able to respond back if we can't get to everything while we're on this call. And I have the benefit of being able to see some of you, and those of you that are on the phone I can't see, but I don't want you to be any less engaged in this conversation. So chat is our friend for this purpose. I want to start off, while people are still getting on the call, with just a little quick update on the survey we've been running. I hope lots of you have contributed. It's probably one of the bigger surveys we've had response to in years. We've had about 400 respondents to this survey, so we love it. I will tell you, it's not aimed just at retail, so it's aimed at all business in the region. So this information that I'm going to put in front of you is not specifically reflective of the industry that you're most actively engaged in. But it does tell us a few things, and we did it for one specific purpose: to know how we could be most useful in the work we can do for you and for our business community as we move to the next phase of how we're responding to COVID-19. So it's been a heck of a 5-6 week period. It's still going to be a long haul, we know that, but as we can begin to reopen our economy, we want to make sure we're doing it in a smart and thoughtful way. And so whatever information we can glean from you helps us to stand up the tools that are most useful. So you'll see we asked everyone, tell us about your business. What's the status? And most businesses that responded are actually in the essential business space, so they've been operating. That's heavy in manufacturing, trucking, certainly some retail, if you're in the grocery or pharmacy business, have been operating either in different circumstances, but in some level they've had their doors open. Another big chunk have been operating virtually. That may include some of you that have found ways to keep an online presence or whatever going. And then we have quite a few who've chosen to close temporarily. And we know that that's heavy in the retail space and heavy in the food and beverage space. So that's just a quick scan of the folks that have given us input in this. The next slide. We asked what they thought they were going to need the most help with. Now you'll see on here, we didn't list PPE or any of the federal programs specifically, because we've been good communicators in that space, I think, but we don't manage those. But we did want to ask about all those things that we might be able to somehow touch and be useful in. So the biggest thing is how you make sure your employees are safe as they're back in either workspaces or whatever operating spaces you're using. And we had a huge number of respondents to that. So 176 of the 400, that was their top priority. Second, of course, protecting your customers. And access to what you need for both those purposes. So one of the things that's come through from these town halls that I've been doing is the need to have access to some elements of sanitation and other services. A lot of you probably have those if you're using cleaning services or whatever now, but certain things, masks and hand sanitizer, seem to be on the list of areas where there are gaps. So as you think about what you might contribute to the chat today, if you've got particular needs in that area, we'd love to hear from you, because we will be standing up a list of resources in that space and whatever best practice information we can get about how you best manage your spaces. And then other things here, access to financial assistance. We will also be posting shortly what we have in options that may be available to you to consider if you've got gaps in what you need to get your business reopened. So I can't promise the world there, but whatever we have, we will make sure that we make it readily available to you and help you make those connections as best you can. And there's a few other things here. One I want to point out, because I think maybe it's a conversation today, is supply chain. I'd be really interested to know if you're seeing challenges with getting whatever you need to have, if you have, inventory that you need to get in to get your businesses reopened when the time comes. And then the last thing we've got in our slides, I think there's one more here, is if there is a liquidity issue that you and your lending partners haven't got a game plan around, what would that working capital need look like? So again, I don't have these monies, but I'm trying to pay attention to where we need to look at ways to fill gaps. So there's some opportunities out there. We're trying to pursue them, but I'm trying to get a read on, what that scale looks like. And so, interestingly, most of the businesses that responded have that somehow managed. They've got a lending relationship or a line of credit or something. But there's obviously a significant need. So of the respondents, I'm looking over here at the number, but a couple hundred need some help. And so we that's not lost on us, because you are a sample of our community. You're not the whole community. So we are paying attention to that, and we'll continue to work on that topic. But with that, I want to throw up just a rough agenda. And this is, Tara Barney and some friends thinking we know your business. We don't know your business. So please don't be offended if this looks nothing like what you think we need to hear from you about. But we did think it was topics that reflected what we saw in the survey. And so we thought it was a good place to start the conversation today. So I'm suggesting that if you have input on these topics or other topics, that's the plan for today. So this is going to be an open conversation, and I'm going to type a message in here just so everyone can see how this works. And if you let me know what you have to contribute, I'll try to guide this conversation. But I want to start out with what seems to be the most obvious issue, and that is your employees. I'd be interested to know if you see challenges, or if you've got best practices to share about how you're planning to bring employees back into your space. And I've labeled this local retail. I know there's a couple local nonprofits that are in the visitor serving space on the phone. So nice to see you, Mary, because I think you share similar interests here. So is anyone, do people feel like they've got that pretty well in hand? Anyone? I'm gonna call, if I don't hear from others, I'm gonna call on the mall, because I know that if there's one place that's got complications multiplied several times, it's probably our mall friends. So Sean, are either of you on the call? I know both Sean's registered.
Yes.
Would you take a minute on what you're seeing in that space?
On the employee protection?
Yeah. Or, that's what I was thinking, but we wouldn't mind hearing from you on how it's going in general, I don't think.
Yeah, and there's lots of planning going on. Lots of stores themselves are doing a lot of their own planning, of course, and then we have to incorporate planning for common area and things that kind of what they do might impact us, what we do might impact them, and so forth. But as far as the employee protection, obviously that's an important aspect, whether you're in the mall or on the street or wherever you may be. But that is definitely one of the most important factors everybody needs to be thinking about. You got to keep the employees safe. And
you feel like you've got enough guidance on that at this point, Sean?
I think you're getting that from a lot of different directions. I think you're getting that just in general from the government, there's lots of different trade associations that are putting stuff out there. Kroger put something out the other day as kind of a blueprint that really is intended to be shared with with retail stores, companies.
Yeah, I just saw that, and we will circulate that to all of you that are on the call. We'll post that. That was quite good, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I think I think getting information like that from retailers that have been open and have been able to tweak their practices as they go and learn from what's going on in real time, I think is definitely a best practice to kind of get some feedback from them and learn what they're doing. So I think any information that you can grab out there from all the different sources that are putting information out there is a great idea.
Well, thanks for that soft opening, because I do want to push hard on our website. I don't care if you're a chamber member, not a chamber member, never looked at our website before, I won't be offended. But we have been very intentional about standing it up with the tools you need. So we keep it very current, and it will be where we're putting the Kroger outline, which is quite good, and any other really useful products that we can get our hands on that will help you kind of work through these logistics issues in your spaces, because I think it's the logistics of how customers feel confident that's going to be a big deal here. And they're only going to be in your space if your employees can be in your space, I'm guessing. Anyone else want to share perspective on this kind of piece of work we have in front of us? How about the whole childcare issue? Is that something that's going to be a limiter for you getting back up to pace as far as your employees in that mix? It's come up in a few other town halls, and so I wanted to raise that with the folks that have not been as actively out in the community as others. I hear someone going live there.
It puts a hurting on stuff.
I'm sorry?
I said it puts a hurting on stuff as far as being able to go out and meet with customers and things like that when you have your kids with you.
Hi, Jennifer. This is Jennifer, right?
It is.
Do us a favor and tell us your business, and because we can't see you.
Oh, you can't? I'm not real familiar with this Zoom app.
All right.
I'm with the teachers at my kiddo's school, so.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I am Sunny Solitude LLC, and I do customized furniture and home decor, interior design. I'm a painter, so I do like murals and things like that. I do woodwork, anything that has to do with furniture, building stuff for home decor, I can do it.
So you're going into people's homes then, I presume?
I can if that's what they want, or if they want to text me or send me an email of something they see off Pinterest that they want, I can make it for them. There's really not much as far as home decor stuff that I can't make, and I make everything by hand. So there's some people that come with me with a piece of like antique furniture that's been in their family for years. They want restored.
So do you have employees?
I do not.
Okay, just curious.
It's me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so Jennifer, and for anyone else that's new to Zoom, down at the bottom, there's a button you can click that says, video. So it says start video, stop video.
Okay.
If you want to join, and if you don't like the way you look today, you don't have to be on video. We don't care.
Okay.
I've been living in front of this camera, so I'm getting comfortable with it.
Yeah. Okay. Did it work?
Yeah, we can now see you, Jennifer. How about the whole movement of both people and stuff? Are you running into any challenges that we should be tuning in on as far as getting inventory in or getting your employees to work, or any of those things on your concern list?
I don't have any employees, so I don't worry too much about that. As far as the, keeping the social distancing and stuff like that has impacted it a lot because I can't meet with customers, obviously for my safety and theirs. So they can't really drop things off to me. I can't really talk to them face to face like I like to do.
How about everyone else on the call? You got it. You have supplier fluidity. Is that all looking good?
It's hard to get the items I need when I can't go into a store and specifically pick it out.
Hey, thank you, Jennifer. I think Heather. I see
Yeah.
you flagging on here.
Yeah, Heather from River City. I know I've got, we have a lot of small makers or companies that aren't able to be in their shops to ship things out or make things right now. So we've run into that some. Also with just like the upcoming, a lot of retail can be seasonal. So knowing what to plan for, when we're going to be open, what we need to have when we do open. Sometimes it takes me 3 weeks or so to get merchandise in, so it's really hard to plan a week ahead or whatever it would be. So we kind of put everything on hold, and now we're starting to buy a little bit of stuff, but it's definitely become challenging to plan for that.
Well, one of the things we are guessing will be helpful is to give you as much lead time as possible. When reopening is possible for non-essential retail, it doesn't mean you have to open that day, because you may still need lead time for those purposes, but we still want you to have as much lead time as is humanly possible so you can be as prepared as you can to get back in business going forward. Has anyone spent time working on what the new normal is going to look like? Do you think you'll continue to do a lot of pickup or remote service, or do you see a shift in your business that that you're planning for?
I do all shipping now.
Sure, Jennifer.
I do everything through shipping now to customers.
Okay. Yeah.
And it actually kind of helped because I don't just do tri-state now. I do the whole United States. So
Oh, that's great.
I picked up a lot more customers and stuff than I had recently before all this started.
All right. Mary, can I call on you in this topic? Because I think that how our favorite attractions open up in I'm going to call it our cultural institutions, is going to be really important to the rest of us. Are you seeing any big hurdles with when you can get back to making sure we can be in the museum instead of just enjoying your stuff online, which we do?
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying all of the content online.
Yeah.
The museum directors locally are talking, and we're also talking with our associations nationally. We and museums are different. So an art museum and history museum, the people our folks are saying they probably feel like they're self-guided, and there's not a lot of interaction except if you're on a formal tour. So people might feel more comfortable coming out and enjoying the art or the history area. The science centers across the country feel like people will be a little bit more hesitant to engage because that's so hands-on. And so we're talking with people about how we increase our cleaning in the planetarium. How do we do social distancing? Do we sell fewer tickets? I mean, we're talking about that. I was interested in joining the retail because we have a very small retail aspect to the museum. And so I wanted to get ideas on how, we're concerned with people coming in and picking things up, and then how do and then putting them down. And how do you do that? I mean, some museums are really cutting their shops back in terms of retail product, just having the best sellers out, or having people ask for products. So if
you
they
just raised something I haven't thought about.
So if we have that, I'm interested in how people will address that in the retail industry.
Those of you that have a big floor inventory, can you offer some thoughts on that?
Sure. I'm Teresa Miller. We own Grateful Threads, and everything in my store is fabric. And we know that when people come in to shop, typically they're looking for something specific, or at least a specific color or style of something. I think we're going to just try to put something up on the window and on the front counter that we haven't quite nailed down the verbiage yet, but if you love it and you think you want it, you can touch it. If it's not your cup of tea, please don't. Because I cannot sanitize 500 bolts of fabric between every customer. I don't remember what the guideline is on how long it can live on fabric, but you know, we have folks that come through the shop and you can tell every place that they've been because every roll is pulled down as they've walked along. They know they're not going to buy that. It's not what they were looking for. So we're just going to ask people. First of all, I think we're going to ask people this at least the first couple of weeks after we see how these southern states roll out and you know, we get a spike or not. I think we're going to ask people to wear masks in the shop. Initially, and then we're going to try to come up with something to ask people that, and we're going to have a big jug of hand sanitizer on the front counter. We're going to offer it to everyone that walks in the door so that they can touch and feel. Fabric's very tactile. People want to touch. And so if they cleanse their hands, I'm not as concerned about them touching everything, but truly I think we're going to try to come up with something clever to, you know, just encourage people that if you know you're not going to buy it, please don't touch it.
Well, you know, I saw Trader Joe's, when you walk in their stores, not that I have because we don't have one, they're handing everyone hand sanitizer right inside the door. So the employee is doing that, and then they're handing them a sanitized cart. So maybe sanitizer at the door or gloves at the door is part of this. Anyone have other expertise on this topic, because it's not come up before in any of our other calls?
Hi, I'm Amy with Anjali Interiors. I kind of second what Teresa's been talking about. We have a large inventory of fabric, upholstery, upholstered furniture, and lots of pillows. And, you know, our store is just full of just everything you want to touch. And I think it's really important to be able to, you know, share with our clients and customers that walk in the store, you know, the proper signage that's throughout the space. We too have discussed the whole idea of having, you know, signage that says, you know, we appreciate your business so much, but, you know, if you want it, touch it, we'll help you, ask for assistance. It is very important. We've also had, Sharon and I are writing protocol for the return of our doors being open and our employees being back. You know, I think that our protocol, I know that our employees will be wearing masks, and we'll ask that people walking in too will have to have a mask on.
Will you provide them if need be?
Pardon me?
Will you provide masks if you need to?
You know, we are thinking in terms of having some made with samples that we have in the store. We have a lot of fabric samples, discontinued samples, things that we can make. So I think we're going to get on the bandwagon and offer that. We want to encourage people to shop with us and feel safe. I know before we closed our doors, we had some reactions on social media, with our social media, saying, how can you keep your doors open if we can't be sure that you're not sanitizing things properly. So this was an eye-opener for us in the beginning, and now watching this virus, you know, explode like we have, it's certainly something that we need to be mindful of.
Well, I do think that customers are going to make a lot of judgments into where they go, and so whatever can happen to push it out will be important. If somebody else is on the call, I can't see you. Would you mind either hitting the chat or speaking up a minute here?
Hey, it's Brittany with District 7 Boutique.
Okay. Hi, Brittany.
I don't have my camera on because I look very scary today. I'm trying to save you guys from that. One thing I was going to mention, for us, I know in retail, we steam a lot of our clothing. And I was going to say, for the people with the issue with their fabrics and stuff, steaming stuff will kill off the viruses. So they could just go get a handheld steamer and just kind of go over their pillows and cushions and stuff periodically throughout the day. And that would help with killing off viruses and stuff too.
It's a great tip. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of times too with me, when people come in, I will just kind of pull things out for them and show them. That way they're not touching things and getting overwhelmed. So that's kind of a normal day in the life for me. So that's probably how I'm going to resume once we get open again, is just kind of pulling and showing. And then if they like it, then I can start a fitting room for them to actually try it on.
Gotcha. Other thoughts on this, how we keep our merchandise virus-free, or advice?
This is Heather with River City again. I was just going to say, I think that hand sanitizer opposed to gloves is probably way more practical. Just having a spouse that deals with bloodborne pathogens and all of that. Putting gloves on, taking gloves off, the security of having them on while also touching your face and then touching products and things like that seems less effective than them just being able to wash their hands or, use hand sanitizer. So if we could have some kind of station with that. But I know like in some of the other town hall meetings I've been in, accessing that is a little bit more difficult.
So we're working on a hand sanitizer source, and we're also going to get some guidance from some of our manufacturing partners on a hand sanitizer setup that you can actually activate with your feet. So one of the challenges with hand sanitizer right now is you're using your hands to get the stuff. And so we're going to see what we can pull together that might be relevant to lots of you and not just manufacturing, in how you can welcome customers into the shop and make them feel space or safe.
Yeah. And another thing I was going to say too, I know for us, we have really long hours right now. We're open every day, 7 to 7, because we have our coffee shop as well. We'll probably be reducing that significantly, at least for quite a few weeks after we are allowed to open, just due to, I'm sure we'll have a reduction in customers. I don't know if anybody else is planning on doing anything like that, but having more limited time to be open, and encouraging people to come during that time is probably a realistic thing for quite a few weeks or months moving forward.
Any of you others that have smaller businesses that are in that same situation, got a comment on that?
I do want to interject really quickly. Going back to the touchless hand sanitizer, the Pizza Factory, Franklin Street Pizza Factory, actually has one that is motion censored. You just put your hand under it. I'm not sure what company it is, but I'll find out. They rent it. I think it's from like Centos or something. Yes, but it's touch free.
Would you put that in the chat, somebody, so we can catch that, or maybe our note takers have got it. Great.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem.
So how about returning merchandise? That came up, and is there a broad sense that that might be something that gets put on hold for a while?
We don't accept returns. We're yard goods, so
you probably wouldn't.
You own it, so we don't do refunds or exchanges because we just don't. We never have. We have signage everywhere in that regard. But you were talking about access to hand cleaner, and my girls have been making masks for folks come in the store. Actually, we gave away our 400th bag of donated cotton and elastic yesterday.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Door handle, and people have been burning my Facebook page up wanting fabric to make masks. So had one lady that brought 50 masks back to us. So we plan on handing those to our customers if they don't.
Yeah, got my option with me today.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Jess Kaufman. I'm with Everyday Business Resilience Group, and thinking of returning products, probably something to keep in mind is that the lifespan of the virus on a surface, if you have a safe place where you can store return products, perhaps, set them aside for a day or so, that should tend to give it time to die off on its own, or give you time to also sanitize it if you want to sanitize it. But having a dedicated place to set them aside should help tremendously with that safety.
That's a good tip. We'll add that into the thought process here. I might shift a little bit and ask, are you having concerns as businesses about liability in any way? Some of the sectors of our economy that are providing close touch services and that sort of thing have raised that. Is that something that you've been talking with your attorneys or other business partners about? Is it high on your list of anxiety?
We aren't at Grateful Threads because I was in the post office this morning. There were 10 people in the post office. I was the only one wearing a mask. I was the only one that sanitized my hands when I got back in the car.
Yeah, I'm fearful that our community is not paying as much attention as they need to this, because we don't need a spike. That will slow.
Yeah, don't need a spike. So if we offer them hand sanitizer at the door and we require that they wear masks inside, they can come and swab my building all they want. I don't think they're going to find it here.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about liability. If people refuse to wear masks, we'll ask them to come back when they can find one.
Mm-hmm. Any counter opinions or thoughts on that, or just best practices you want to share with our colleagues here? We've got 40 of you gathered, so I want to make sure we gather.
I don't know how much it legally holds up or what that even looks like with this being such a new thing, but I mean, obviously we'll do so much that we can, to make sure all of our surfaces and door handles and employees and everyone are as clean as possible. But at the end of the day, they're making the choice to come into our store, so they can trust us that we're doing that. And if they don't have to come in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah, we're trying to get we're talking to the state and to the higher ups about that to see what we can get in the way of public policy to help make this as minimal a risk for retailers as possible. Because you're right, there could be a whole set of lawsuits that get filed just because someone gets into being obsessive about this. And
well, and I think
I don't
it's
want to
different.
point any direction, but I want to make sure we're thinking these things through.
Well, and I think it's different too when you're walking into a doctor's office or something that you need versus a lot of our stores, you don't really need what we're selling, unfortunately, as it is to say. So I think that for us, at least, that's we're an optional stop on their day.
So. And so I want to shift a tiny bit, if I can, unless there are other comments on this, to what's probably going to be critical is social distancing in your spaces. Some of you probably have spaces that's not a big issue. Mary made some comments on that, but do you have concerns about congestion at entryways or how you'll manage customer flow in any of your operations that you might share with us?
Hey, this is Mary at 6th and 0, and
Mary.
Hey, we have we have sort of a smaller shop space, so we plan to limit the number of people in our space. Fortunately, we have a wonderful front porch that's wide and open, and if someone needs to stand outside or sit on the bench, they can do that. So we plan to have just good signage, verbiage, let people maybe just a few at a time. And we also have a really hands-on experience. So it's a lot of refillery goods, so pumps and scoops. And so we need to limit that anyway, just so initially I feel like staff, we will be the ones doing those things for our customers. But I did talk to a boutique yesterday in Newburgh as well, and she was talking about literally putting grids on her floor. So they're gonna put some sort of taped grids to show, like, if you're in this square of a section, no one else can be in that squared section. So they're going to literally grid off. And honestly, I think curbside pickup is here to stay. I mean, I think people are getting used to it. It's a convenience. People like it. They feel comfortable with it. And I think that's going to be here for quite some time. And so being able to pivot to continue to offer curbside pickup is going to be important.
Thanks, Mary. I think that's probably right on the target. I know that Steve Schaefer, my partner in thinking through all these things, is on the call. At least I think he is. He's been working really closely with the chamber to make sure that we are setting up good, pertinent information on both websites so that it's available to you. And if he is, I wonder if he might tell us what he's been hearing, because I bet, to your point, probably every block where there are restaurants is now going to have a curbside pickup zone or something. Steve, are you on the call? Do you want to make a comment? He might not be available, but he signed in for the call. But I do think some local regulations and circulation and support of your businesses is going to change probably. And that curbside pickup, seems like it's been the lifeline for a lot of our restaurants, I know. Who else is on the call that has a topic we haven't gotten to? If not, I'm going to talk to you about what we see as being next a little bit, because we are hopeful that the stay-at-home order right now in the state runs through the 1st of May. It might or might not be extended, but our intention is to make sure that if there's an opportunity to open regionally, or if there's an opportunity to open sector by sector, we are as well prepared as possible to support you all in being ready for that and to give you quick intelligence. So you're kind of, by signing on to this call, you're self-designating as being kind of our leaders in this space, and you all have a circle of colleagues and professionals that you stay in touch with. So I'm hoping that you will self-deputize to help communicate concerns, our interest in hearing from other issues that are out there that might not have come up, and to encourage people to stay closely in touch with both the City of Evansville and our websites. And they're going to be on a slide that's somewhere around here, if they're not already, they might be, so that we can get as good an information flow out to the retail community as possible. And at the same time, if there are things that are more confidential, more unique issues that aren't perfect conversation for a town hall like this, we'd like to make sure that you get in touch with me or Steve or whoever you feel comfortable, and we'll do our best to help connect you. On the call are my best colleagues in supporting small business, and that's the Small Business Development Center staff. So I know Kim Howard and Doug Claiborne are both in this call, and maybe Julie Foltz is too. I think I saw her. These folks probably work with many of you already, but if they've got a skill set, it is certainly in helping our businesses adjust your business plan should it need be. Paying attention to those nuts and bolts that can help make sure that whatever you can do to weather this new way of doing business is available to you. So I want you to feel very welcome to reach out to us for any of those services if you need them. I know one of the Sean's has a question.
Yeah.
Some of these questions are coming up and I'm not seeing them for some reason. I apologize for that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now our situation, you know, we're being a nonprofit and working with veterans and their families.
Sean, first tell us who you are, because we can't tell.
I'm sorry, my name's Sean Gorley. I'm with military with PTSD.
Thank you.
Not a problem. It's kind of funny because we started online, so having to go back online hasn't really been that hard of a switch to us because that's where we started. However, some of the unique situations that we found when we started actually getting out into the community and doing things, both of our programs that bring in the most money have everything to do with being in the public. And one of the issues that we have ran into is, and a concern for us, is not only, you know, doing these concerts and events, taking veterans and their families to these events for free, keeping them safe. However, the other issue that we've ran into is we run on accounts payable. And we, as a nonprofit, you know, Reba McEntire was the concert, unfortunately, that everything started shifting, and we had over $16,000 in tickets just for that event that we're sitting on. The problem with this is that we're struggling trying to figure out how to make our accounts payable. Because if we lose our credit, if we start, which most of the vendors thus far have been willing to work with us. However, there will come a point when they're due, and trying to figure out how to make sure that our credit doesn't get damaged, because if we lose that ability to pay by invoice and have to do it on demand, that could about sink us.
I get that. I don't have a direct answer, but I think there are some local resources you might want to talk to. There's a relief fund that's being set up here in the region, and we'll have some other options on our website. So check those out first, but that is the sort of thing we might be able to get you some help with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Grant, I see that Grant's maybe got a question. Is that true? And I'm trying to flag Josh Armstrong, because Josh is on the call, and Josh heads up our downtown initiative, and he runs the EID for us and is well known to many of you that are on this call. Josh, are you available to tell us how things are going from your perspective?
Yeah, hey, so good morning, everyone. A couple things that we're working on is, you know, it's really tricky not knowing the number of people that we can have in a space. It's going to limit some events that normally bring business into our Main Street and other downtown businesses. So we're trying to think of different ways that we can sort of accomplish presenting consumers to our business owners. One of the things that we're planning is a May 30th spring small business Saturday, done in a very socially distanced kind of manner. Again, just getting people used to going back inside if possible into our stores. The other thing that I've already been looking around and seeing, understanding the steps for it is we need to change our parking on some of our streets. You mentioned that earlier, so that we can have at least one pickup area every so many 100 feet. So businesses can easily go out to the cars and deliver coffee or food or purchases, etc. So those are some of the things we're working on.
Thanks, Josh. I know that we've got a lot of great neighborhood commercial centers in our region, and I appreciate the fact that downtown Evansville is working with downtown Newburgh, and I think you told me maybe the downtown in Henderson, which I think is really cool, because how we bring people back into what we all love to do in that shop is going to require a lot of creative thinking going forward. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Sure. Who else is on the call that wants to share information? I've put a couple things out on well, Shannon, can you put up that last slide? So just some resources. We will send these to you. We're going to send each of you an email with this information, and then we'll keep you in a little group so that we can make sure to stay in close touch. And I will say this, we are happy if you'd like to be able to communicate with each other, some of you. One of the things we'll do when we reach out is we'll check, get a hi sign from you if you'd like to be part of a larger email group. We won't share your emails unless you want to. But it may be that, as you get into this and somebody's trying to figure out how they're managing the front door or what their signage looks like, we'd love it if you'd share it with us so we can share it with the broader community. But I am all about any kind of peer support we can create as we go through these coming months. So we are very happy to do that if that's a helpful tool for you. And I'm going to ask one more time, are there other things, whether it's for your business, for your personal life, for your family life, for your church, whatever you're engaged in, are there other things that you're seeing that you'd like to share with us to make sure that we can plan for all aspects of reopening our community? Because I'd love to hear if there are. I think Steve put some good comments up there. Thank you, Steve.
I think one of my only concerns is just kind of like public perception once we open back up, which I know some other people have mentioned. But I think even doing all you can do to make your environment and your store safe, there's still going to be a lot of backlash for a while for people that don't feel safe and don't feel like that you're providing a safe environment for people. I'm not really sure what you can do about that, but I think that's definitely going to be an issue for a lot of people.
Well, actually, we're brainstorming that through, and I'm going to ask some of our, marketing pros, which I am not, if there are ways we can broadly put out the Southwest Indiana has been working to make sure that we bring, your community back to you in a safe and smart manner or something. I'm messing around with, are there ways we can put out that we're working hard to be on top of this and you can count on it. We got to find the right language, but I think in some of the other groups, and Heather, you probably suggested it, the notion that a third party like the chamber or others can speak for the good work that's being done is different from you saying it yourself. So we may help what you're doing if we can put that more broad message out there. So I think that's something that we're going to figure out what we can do about that sort of thing, because that could be
consistent signage. The same signage that, our doors are open, we're being as safe as we can possibly be.
Would it help if we worked on kind of a template maybe that could be used by a lot of businesses, so they saw that the public would start to see that as a following the rules kind of thing?
Correct. That's what I'm getting at. I think if we had consistent signage to put in our windows that everybody's, that this business and Heather's business and, multiple businesses, we're all following the guidelines. you know, we're doing everything we can to get you back to work because, like River City, myself, I mean, I was buying spring fabric for indoor outdoor fabric in January before this all hit. I'm sitting on a store full of spring fabric.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to go into summer now. Hopefully someday. I don't know, maybe spring's not quite all here yet. We hope not, because we've Facebook people, let them know that they can send us dimensions. We've pictures of our fabric. You can purchase it online. We'll meet you at the door, give you curbside service. We've done everything in our limited marketing experience that we can think of to move product, but a lot of our things are seasonal. And so I think if we all had this, maybe the same signage on our doors where it looked like we were we are in this together. We are united. We are following the rules. We welcome you back with, you know, a few safety precautions for you and us, like masks and hand sanitizer at the door. Something like that. I think a consistent message that we're all in this together and we're following the rules would be helpful.
I'm here to get a head nod because I think this is a really great idea. And
I think for sure, I don't know if it would be through the chamber with the Reopen Evansville thing, but if there was even just like, you know, once the kind of standards are set, you know, retail establishments should do this, hair salons should do this, et cetera. If there was like a endorsement per se, which included that signage, you know, like the Reopen Evansville has approved this business because they're taking all the measures necessary.
Well, that might be messy to use the word approve, but
that's true, yeah. But
these businesses have been smart about following the guidelines or something. But we'll mess with that because, so here's what I have to say to you all, and I mean this with all sincerity. This is the fourth of these calls I've done, and everyone gives us something else. And the other calls have not gotten to this, but you're a bunch of retailers, so you're thinking marketing, and our community needs what you're contributing. So this is a brilliant idea. We'll figure out how we do something in this space that serves the whole region. But I think you know, every part of our business economy has something to contribute to getting us back to healthy, whatever healthy looks like. And your time is so valuable to us. We hugely appreciate it. It looks like House of Blues is on here. I love my jeans. Who's on here from House of Blues? Because they wanted to say something. About trying on clothes. This is a good one. We can't hear you. You're muted. You got to unmute.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. I tried to get on earlier from my phone and I couldn't, and I was not at the store yet, so I'm late to the game.
Well, how about trying on clothes? What's the game plan there?
Right now, no one's really doing it. I mean, unless we are sending boxes home with people, which has been something, I mean, I personally shop for my clients all the time anyway, so that part hasn't changed. It's just been a lot more work. So I'm still physically working every day at the store, scheduling curbside pickups, deliveries, shipping to my clients that don't live here. But it is a lot of work to personally shop. Every single person is different and they want different things. So it's just different.
Well, thank you. Are there others that have figured out the trying on clothing deal?
I think a lot of local retailers are doing like Facebook Lives, and I think that that's been beneficial to a lot of people. I belong to a lot of like boutique groups that are small retailers like myself, and they've really been promoting things like there's a program called Comment Sold. It allows you to like hold products up or try products on, and people can comment in the below, and you can, you know, sell products directly like that. All the Facebook Live try-ons, those kind of things. I think it just depends on your customer and what they're looking for and want. I prefer a little more personal approach with my clients, and so doing the personal shopping for them and more one-on-one gifting, and that seemed to work for us. I don't like to, I know it's seems weird, but I think it's kind of weird to go just try on clothes in front of people for 30 to 45 minutes and just have them watch you try clothes on. But I guess,
well, I'm sure someone's going to figure out a cool app or some way that we can understand that as we get into the clothing aspect of our retail dilemma.
Well, and online shopping is nothing new. So that's something that I've been working on. I never wanted to have an e-commerce store. That's not why I got into this business and not what I love. But it's something that I've had to dive into and try to learn really quickly and scramble around to try to get a working e-commerce site. And it's getting there. It was a task that I didn't plan on tackling right now, but I mean, I'm still looking forward to offering that service to my customers.
So we got 2 more minutes. May I ask this question? Has anybody else found the necessity to get into e-commerce in a big way that's come out of this? And if so, do you have the tools you need? Because maybe that's one of those things that's in the future space of something we might be able to set up some workshops on or something. So if you think that's in your future, we're not going to do it this week, but that may be the sort of thing we can build some capacity around going forward to help our local retail business stay in the future.
That would be helpful, actually. You know, we're very active on social media, but as far as building a website and e-commerce, things like that, that's something that we don't have a lot of skills in. So,
well, we will take that under advisement, and you know, we're tracking all your comments. So in the next week or so, we'll be working with Mayor Winicke's task force on the kinds of workshops and other tools that our businesses in general need. They're not limited to Evansville, to be clear, but we've got good partnership there to help sort this out, and our Small Business Development Center will be part of this mix, as will our friends from Work One. So we haven't talked too much about specific employee challenges you may have, but as we identify those, we'll try to stand up useful FAQs or whatever we can share with you in that space.
Hey guys, this is Brent Hargett, Brittany's boyfriend.
Hey.
I own Inkwork Studio, and I've done web design for, I don't know, 15 years, and I can do Zoom or whatever and help anybody with how to set up e-commerce. There's so many different options, especially for people that run Square or anybody that wants to get into GoDaddy. It's very simple to set up e-commerce in those platforms, and I'd be more than happy to help anybody that needs help trying to figure it out.
Hey, thank you. We won't broadcast that completely widely yet, but we appreciate that offer, and that's exactly the sort of way we're going to get our larger community to do this together, is everyone pitching in a little bit. So that's cool. I, of course, don't know either of those platforms, so I can't say any more on that topic.
Anybody can just get a hold of Brittany. She can get a hold of me, and then I'd be more than happy to help.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. And thank you all for your time today. I'm going to end the call unless there's anything else that needs to be shared. But keep an eye on the 2 web pages that are on the screen here. We'll send this out to you in email so you'll have it, because we'll try to make sure that we're gathering your input and your great advice. So thank you so much for your great advice, because I think we've picked up some things here that will help not just retail, but probably quite a few other aspects of our Southwest Indiana community too. So have a great weekend. Thank you. We know you've had a hell of a past few weeks, and we hope that the coming weeks are looking a little differently. We're surely doing all we can to help them be that way. So best to you all, and thank you for your time.